In Crestwood Hills, a sunlit suburb of Los Angeles where manicured lawns and white picket fences defined the landscape, Keshawn Dorsey learned early to tread lightly. At 16, he was a black teenager in a neighborhood where his family's presence still raised eyebrows, despite years of calling Maple Drive home. His headphones, blasting hip-hop or jazz depending on his mood, were his armor, shielding him from the world's sharp edges. As he walked home from Crestwood High, he kept his eyes forward, avoiding the subtle surveillance of neighbors like Mrs. Larson, whose curtains twitched whenever he passed her rose garden. His father's words were a constant refrain in his mind. Head up, guard higher. Some folks see your color before they see your heart. The corner store on Elm Street was another test. Mr. Callahan, the owner, tracked Keshawn's every move through the glass, his gaze heavy with suspicion. Keshawn had been a regular for years, grabbing Gatorades or chips after basketball practice, yet Callahan's eyes never softened. Today, Keshawn picked up a soda, paid quickly, and turned up his music to drown out the unspoken accusations. He was halfway home, the late afternoon sun warming his shoulders, when a police cruiser glided alongside him, its slow pace a warning. His stomach tightened. He'd seen the script play out with older cousins, friends, men in his community, but not with a high school kid on a Thursday. The window rolled down, revealing Officer Travis Holt's stern face. Hey kid, hold up a minute. Keshawn stopped, slipping off his headphones. Jereal's voice echoed, be polite, be calm, don't give them a reason to escalate. Yes, sir, Keshawn said, his voice steady despite the pulse hammering in his throat. Travis Holt was new to the Crestwood Hills Police Department, a 30-something ex-military man with a chip on his shoulder and a need to prove himself. His buzzed hair and rigid posture hinted at a past he rarely spoke of, one cut short by failure he buried deep. What are you doing wandering around here, he asked, eyeing Keshawn from head to toe like he was cataloging a threat. I live here, sir. Just heading home from school. ID? I'm 16. I've got my school ID. Keshawn gestured toward his backpack, moving slowly. Hands where I can see them, Holt snapped, his hand hovering near his holster. Keshawn froze, palms up. It's in my bag, sir. Holt stepped out, circling Keshawn as cars slowed and neighbors peeked from porches. Empty it. Keshawn unzipped his backpack, spilling out textbooks, a spiral notebook, a water bottle, and his basketball shoes. Nothing incriminating, nothing to justify the stop. Holt's expression hardened, his suspicion unshaken. Where do you live exactly? Maple Drive, number 422, a few blocks that way. Parents home, mom's at work, dad's away. Holt's tone shifted, laced with mockery. Away, huh? What kind of job keeps a man gone like that? You kids never seem to have a dad at home, do you? The words stung, but Keshawn kept his face blank, his father's lessons anchoring him. My dad's in Special Forces. Holt's laugh was sharp, echoing down the quiet street. Special Forces? What, like he's out saving the world with Rambo? That's a good one, kid. Keshawn said nothing, his silence a shield against the humiliation. Holt called to another officer pulling up in a second cruiser. Sanders, get this kid says his dad's a super soldier. Probably thinks he's in a Marvel movie. Sanders chuckled, but his eyes darted to the growing crowd, neighbors lingering, some whispering. Across the street, Sofia Alvarez, a classmate with a knack for staying unnoticed, stood behind a tree, her phone recording. Her gut told her to keep the camera rolling, even as her hands shook. Pick up your stuff and move along, Holt said, tiring of Keshawn's calm defiance. Stay out of trouble. Keshawn repacked his bag, every move deliberate under watchful eyes, and walked away. Holt's voice trailed him. Special Forces, my ass. Bet his dad's Special Forces of the couch. At home, Keshawn dropped his backpack in the entryway, the familiar scents lemon polish, his mom's lavender candles, last night's fried chicken, easing the tension in his chest. The living room walls held carefully chosen photos. Keshawn and his mom, Lena, at his 8th grade graduation, a younger Keshawn with Jereal at a Dodgers game, the three of them laughing on a Santa Monica pier years ago. No images showed Jereal in uniform, a choice Keshawn understood without asking. Lena arrived soon after, her nurse's scrubs swapped for the blazer she wore as a hospital supervisor. Her sharp eyes caught Keshawn's quiet mood instantly. Hey baby, school okay? Fine, he said, but her look said she wasn't buying it. Something happened. Out with it. Keshawn sighed, got stopped by a cop on the way home. Lena's posture stiffened, her casual warmth replaced by alertness. What did he want? Just asked what I was doing, checked my bag. No reason, just the usual. The usual? Her voice rose slightly. Did you get his name? Holt, I think. New guy. She nodded, her mind already working. What else? I know there's more. He asked about Dad. Lena's eyes narrowed, a subtle shift Keshawn knew well. What did you tell him? That he's in special forces. Nothing specific. Keshawn, we've been over this. Your father's work isn't for strangers, especially not police. It's about safety, ours, his. I know, Mom, but he was saying stuff like, Dad's gone, like I don't have a father. I couldn't let him think Dad walked out on us. Lena's expression softened. She crossed the kitchen and pulled him into a hug, a rare gesture he didn't resist. I understand. Just be careful. If this Holt asks again, say Dad's a government consultant. Nothing more, okay? Keshawn nodded, but the encounter replayed in his mind, each word a weight. That night, as he worked on a history essay, his phone buzzed. A text from Sofia. Need to talk tomorrow about what happened. Keshawn stared at it, wondering how she knew. He typed, okay, and set his phone aside, unease settling like fog. The next morning, Sofia caught him before first period near the school's music room, where few students lingered. I saw that cop yesterday, she said without preamble. It was wrong, the way he treated you. I recorded it. Keshawn's eyebrows lifted slightly, his only sign of surprise. Why? Because it wasn't fair. My mom's a civil rights lawyer, she says always document. He nodded, processing. What are you going to do with it? Nothing unless you say so. But is it true about your dad? Keshawn met her gaze, weighing his words. Yeah. Sofia studied him, then nodded. Okay, just checking. Word spread like wildfire at Crestwood High. By lunch, Keshawn's clash with Holt was the talk of the cafeteria. Ethan Carter, a junior with a loud mouth and a dad who sold luxury homes, swaggered over to Keshawn's table. Yo, Dorsey, heard you told some cop your dad's a secret agent or some crap. Keshawn kept eating his sandwich, eyes down. Ethan leaned in, voice carrying. My dad says your dad probably works at a gas station, not out saving the world. Your dad talks about mine at dinner? That's weird, Keshawn said evenly, still not looking up. Ethan's face flushed, but Keshawn's calm stare made him falter. Whatever, man, he muttered, retreating with his crew. Sofia slid into the seat across from Keshawn. Ignore Ethan. His dad got caught dodging taxes last year, everyone knows it. Keshawn's mouth twitched, almost a smile. They ate in silence until Sofia spoke again. Special forces, huh? That's kind of cool. Don't really want to talk about it, Keshawn said quietly. Got it. After school, Keshawn stayed late for basketball practice, the court a sanctuary where he could lose himself in the rhythm of dribbling and shooting. His coach, Mr. Reynolds, a former player who'd grown up in South LA, noticed Keshawn's distraction. You good, Dorsey? You're off today. Just some stuff going on, Keshawn said, wiping sweat from his brow. Reynolds nodded, not pressing. You know I'm here if you need to talk. Seen my share of stuff growing up. Keshawn managed a nod, grateful for the understanding. As he walked home, the memory of Holt's laughter gnawed at him, but so did his father's teachings. Control what you can, your reactions, your choices. That's your power. Across town, Officer Holt began his shift with a new mission. Keshawn's claim about his dad didn't sit right. It sounded like a kid's fantasy, yet it nagged at him. He searched social media, finding little. Lena's profiles were locked down. Keshawn had no online presence unusual for a teenager. Holt drove slowly past the Dorsey house on Maple Drive, a modest two-story home with a tidy lawn. Nothing to suggest a special forces operative lived there. He parked nearby and approached a neighbor, Mrs. Hensley, who was pruning her hedges. Morning, ma'am, Holt said, flashing a practiced smile. Just checking in. Know the Dorseys down the street? Mrs. Hensley straightened, wiping her hands. Oh, Lena's a dear, works at the hospital. Keshawn's a good kid, always offers to carry my groceries. And Mr. Dorsey? She frowned thoughtfully. Jereal's away a lot. Military, I think. They're private folks, but kind. Military, huh? Any idea what he does? No, they don't talk about it much. Jereal fixed my fence last summer, though, nice man. Holt thanked her, but her vague answers only fueled his curiosity. He spent the day asking around, but neighbors offered the same. The Dorseys were respected, reserved, and Jereal was a mystery. That evening, Holt parked across from their house, watching as Lena moved around the kitchen, Keshawn passing through briefly. No sign of a third figure. The boy's story felt like a lie, but the lack of answers bothered Holt more than he'd admit. At home, Lena's phone rang after midnight, an unknown number. She answered cautiously. Hello? Silence, then a click. It was the fourth such call that week. She reached for a hidden phone in her nightstand and sent a coded text to Jereal. Another call. No trace. His reply was immediate. Noted. Protocol 7. Lena deleted the messages and lay awake, her mind racing. Years of guarding their family's secrets had built a fortress around their lives, but Holt's questions were a crack in the foundation. The next day, Holt sat at his desk in the police station, scrolling through databases. Lena's record was spotless hospital administrator, no issues. Keshawn was a B+ student, no trouble. Jereal, though, was a ghost. Marriage license, property records, and Keshawn's birth certificate confirmed he existed, but his military file was locked. Classified clearance required. Holt muttered under his breath. What the hell? He'd expected to debunk Keshawn's claim with a few clicks, but now he wasn't so sure. Captain Morales passed by, noticing Holt's intensity. Problem? No, sir, Holt said, quickly switching screens, just checking something. Alone again, Holt stared at the classified warning. It could mean anything, contractor, analyst, or something deeper. The uncertainty gnawed at him. He'd bragged to colleagues about the kid's special forces fairy tale, expecting laughs. Now he felt exposed, like Keshawn had played him. That evening, Holt returned to Maple Drive in his personal car, a black SUV with tinted windows. He parked a block away, watching the house after dark. When the lights went out, he slipped into the yard, moving silently, peering through windows, testing the back door. Unseen, a figure 3 houses down tracked him through high-tech optics, whispering into a secure device. Activity at Dorsey residence. Officer Travis Holt, plainclothes, unauthorized. The response was brief. Monitor only. No engagement. Days later, Keshawn's routine felt heavier. School was a blur of whispers and sideways glances. Ethan and his crew kept their distance, but others asked questions. Was that cop really after you? Is your dad, like, a spy? Keshawn brushed them off, focusing on basketball and homework, but the weight of Holt's stop lingered. At home, he found Lena pacing the kitchen, her phone clutched tightly. What's wrong? Keshawn asked. She hesitated, then said, Someone broke into the shed last night. Keshawn's eyes widened. What did they take? Nothing. But I checked the security camera. She showed him the footage. Holt, clear as day, picking the lock. That's him, Keshawn said, his voice tight. The cop. Lena nodded, her jaw set. I'm going to the station tomorrow. This ends now. The next morning, Lena stormed into the Crestwood Hills Police Department, her hospital ID swinging around her neck. I need to file a complaint, she told the desk officer, her voice controlled, but fierce. One of your officers broke into my property. She played the footage, Holt's face unmistakable. Officer Jenkins paled. Ma'am, I'll get Captain Morales. Morales watched the video, his expression darkening. Mrs. Dorsey, this is serious. Please come to my office to make a formal statement. Lena recounted everything Holt stopped, his questions about Jereal, the shed break-in. He's targeting my son, my family. I want answers. We'll investigate fully, Morales promised, but Lena caught a flicker in his eyes when she mentioned Jereal recognition, maybe, or caution. She left with a case number, but the unease stayed. That evening, Keshawn sat on the porch, sketching in a notebook, a hobby he rarely shared. The drawings were detailed, cityscapes, faces, moments frozen in pencil. Tonight, he sketched the basketball court, but his lines faltered, Holt's voice creeping into his thoughts. Lena joined him, her presence a quiet comfort. You okay, baby? She asked. Keshawn shrugged. Just tired of it. The looks, the questions, like I don't belong here. Lena's hand rested on his. You belong anywhere you choose to be. Don't let anyone, cop or neighbor, make you doubt that. He nodded, but the words felt distant, like a promise he couldn't fully grasp. Across town, Sofia was deep in her own investigation. Her curiosity about Jereal had grown since recording Holt's stop. At home, she scoured military forums and public records, her laptop glowing late into the night. A redacted report caught her eye. Extraction team, led by Dorsey, neutralized high-value target. Another post from a retired Marine mentioned silencers ghost operatives whose missions stayed classified. It wasn't proof, but it fit Keshawn's story. Sofia hesitated, then saved the files. Her mom, Elena Alvarez, poked her head into the room. Still up, mija? It's late. Just research. Sofia said, closing her tabs. Lena frowned. This about that boy and the cop? Maybe. Be careful, Sofia. If his dad's who you think, you're wading into deep water. Sofia nodded, but after her mom left, she reopened the files. One more find, a mission report signed J. Dorsey, Operation Silencer. Not definitive, but enough to make her believe Keshawn. The neighborhood grew tense in the following days. Black SUVs with tinted windows cruised Maple Drive at odd hours, unnoticed by most, but not by Lena. Whispers spread something was happening in Crestwood Hills. One evening, Keshawn stopped at the corner store after practice. Holt was there, off-duty, buying a pack of gum. Their eyes met in the mirror behind the counter. Well, if it isn't Soldier Boy, Holt said, loud enough for other customers to turn. Still telling stories about your daddy? Keshawn placed his Gatorade on the counter, silent, his father's words steadying him. Your reactions are yours alone. He paid and turned to leave. Not done talking, Holt said, stepping closer. I'm done listening, Keshawn replied, his voice low but firm. He walked out, feeling Holt's stare burn into his back. The next afternoon, Keshawn was at the public basketball court, sinking free throws with friends when 3 police cruisers rolled up, lights flashing. Holt strode onto the court, flanked by 2 officers. Keshawn Dorsey, you're coming with us. For what? Keshawn asked, clutching the ball. Reported disturbance. Witnesses say you started it. I've been here all day, Keshawn said, his friends echoing him. Holt pulled out handcuffs. Turn around. Don't make this hard. Keshawn's heart raced, but he complied, the cold metal biting his wrists. Sofia, biking nearby, pulled out her phone and started live streaming. This is happening now, she narrated, her voice steady. Officer Holt, who's under investigation, is arresting Keshawn Dorsey for no reason. The video spread instantly, jumping from Sofia's social media to local forums. At the station, Keshawn sat in a holding room, alone with his thoughts. Holt entered, a smirk playing on his lips. Comfortable? No superhero dad to bust you out, huh? Keshawn stayed silent, his eyes steady. Got a witness saying you assaulted someone at the court, Holt lied. Your word against theirs. Still, Keshawn said nothing. Where's your dad, anyway? Off on some secret mission or just doesn't care? Keshawn finally spoke. You charging me, sir? Or is this just you talking? Holt's phone rang before he could answer. He stepped out, frowning, and found Captain Morales waiting, furious. What the hell are you doing, Holt? The kid's mother is tearing up the lobby, and she's right, you're under investigation. You shouldn't be near this case. There was a call, Holt stammered. A disturbance. No call and dispatch, Morales cut in. You're suspended. Badge and gun now. Holt's face twisted. This kid's dad is hiding something. I'm telling you, Jereal Dorsey's dangerous. Morales' expression shifted, a flicker of caution. Back off, Holt, you're in over your head. As they argued, the station grew quiet, the usual hum of activity fading. A man walked through the front doors, average height, military straight posture, dressed in jeans and a gray t-shirt. Jereal Dorsey moved with a calm that commanded attention, his eyes scanning every detail, missing nothing. Lena saw him first, relief washing over her. Their gazes locked briefly before Jereal approached the desk. I'm here for Keshawn Dorsey, he said, his voice deep and even. The desk officer took his ID, a military card with red markings, and swallowed hard. One moment, sir. Morales emerged, recognizing Jereal instantly from years in the reserves. Mr. Dorsey, there's been a misunderstanding. Your son's being released. No charges. I'd like to see him, Jereal said, his tone leaving no room for debate. Holt stepped forward. We're still processing stand down, Morales snapped. You're done. Jereal turned to Holt, his gaze like a blade. Officer Holt, you've been asking about me. Breaking into my home. Harassing my son. That's your idea of police work? Holt swallowed but held his ground. Just doing my job. Jereal handed Morales a folded document, official seals visible. A formal request for all records of Holt's interactions with my family, filed through channels, but I wanted you to have a copy. Keshawn's face broke into a rare grin when Jereal entered the holding room. Dad, you okay? Jereal asked, his hand steady on Keshawn's shoulder. I'm good. They left together, Lena at their side, a family unbroken. Holt watched, his frustration boiling. He'd been outmaneuvered, his authority stripped. That night, Holt sat in his apartment, surrounded by notes and empty coffee cups. Suspension hadn't stopped him, it fueled him. He called in a favor from a military contact, accessing a restricted database. Jereal's file appeared, most of it redacted, but one line stood out. Active classified operative, not retired active. Holt leaned back, heart pounding. What was a man like that doing in Crestwood Hills? At the Dorsey house, Jereal and Lena spoke in hushed tones after Keshawn went to bed. He found the box in the shed, Jereal said. A test. Nothing critical, but he's digging deeper. He arrested Keshawn, Lena said, her voice tight, in front of everyone. Jereal's jaw tightened. He'll regret crossing that line. How'd you know he'd look? I've met men like Holt before. Suspicion's their fuel and pride's their spark. He's predictable. Lena shook her head, a wry smile breaking through. You set him up. Just gave him rope, Jereal said. He's hanging himself. The next day, Jereal visited the local diner, a relic from his childhood where 3 elderly black men, Walter, James, and Reverend Carter, sat playing dominoes. They greeted him like a son returned from war. Look who's back, Walter said, clasping Jereal's hand. Heard your boy's catching hell from that new cop. Jereal nodded, sliding into the booth. Holt's got an unhealthy interest in us. Reverend Carter studied him. You didn't come just to chat. What do you need? Eyes, Jereal said. Holt's suspended, but he won't stop. I need to know his moves. Done, James said. We'll keep it quiet. They talked longer, sharing stories of Crestwood's past, its red lines, its slow integration. Your boy walks these streets now, Walter said. Wasn't always possible. Progress comes slow, Jereal replied. But it comes. As Jereal left, Keshawn was at school, sketching during art class. Sofia slid into the seat beside him. You draw a lot, she said, eyeing his sketch of the court. Yeah, Keshawn said, guarded. Clears my head. It's good. She paused, then added, That video I took, it's got thousands of views now. People are mad about what Holt did. Keshawn's pencil stilled. Didn't ask for that. I know. Just thought you should know. He nodded, unsure how to feel. Fame wasn't his goal. Survival was. Holt, meanwhile, grew reckless. He used a burner phone to hire a private investigator, demanding dirt on Jereal and Keshawn. Military records, finances, anything, he said. I want leverage. The PI warned, if he's government, it's risky. Do it, Holt snapped. One evening, Holt orchestrated his boldest move, a raid on the Dorsey house, with 4 off-duty officers who shared his distrust of outsiders. Believing the family was at a school event, they broke in, searching for evidence of Jereal's secrets. Jereal had anticipated it, planting cameras to record every move. When the team found nothing, no safes, no files, their frustration grew. Outside, their cars wouldn't start, sabotaged subtly by Jereal's handiwork. Holt kicked his tire, dread sinking in. He knew, he muttered. He was ready. The fallout was swift. Morales issued reprimands, extended Holt's suspension, and opened a criminal probe. But Holt, humiliated and desperate, made his final play. He showed up at Crestwood High during lunch, no badge but full of bravado, and grabbed Keshawn in the cafeteria. Keshawn Dorsey, you're under arrest. Students gasped, teachers froze. Keshawn stayed calm. For what? Obstruction, Holt improvised. Your dad's running illegal ops, and you're covering for him. Sofia live-streamed, narrating. Suspended Officer Holt is arresting Keshawn Dorsey illegally. The video exploded online, drawing protesters to the station. Jereal walked in alone, his calm a stark contrast to the chaos. Morales met him, sweating. This wasn't authorized, Mr. Dorsey. Where's my son? Jereal asked, his voice cutting through the noise. In with Holt. We're handling it. Jereal didn't wait, moving to the interview room. Holt looked up, startled, as Jereal entered. Perfect, Holt sneered. Now we get the truth. What are you running, Dorsey? Jereal ignored him, checking Keshawn. You okay? Keshawn nodded, steady despite the cuffs. Jereal placed a folder on the table surveillance of Holt's raid, legal filings, military credentials. You've abducted a minor, Bradley, while impersonating an officer. Federal crimes. Holt's bravado cracked. I'm exposing a threat. No, Jereal said. You're chasing ghosts because you can't handle being wrong. Officers entered, cuffing Holt as he shouted about conspiracies. Outside, protesters cheered as Jereal and Keshawn emerged, Sofia still filming, but Holt vanished that night, cutting his ankle monitor. A fake text from Sofia lured Keshawn to a park, but Jereal spotted the trap. As they secured the house, Holt attacked with smoke grenades, grabbing Keshawn at gunpoint. Time to talk, he growled, dragging him to a warehouse. Inside, Holt paced, unraveling. Your dad's a shadow operative running missions here, isn't he? Keshawn observed. 2 exits, high windows, a camera. He serves his country, he said. That's not a secret. Holt laughed bitterly. He's a killer. You're the one with the gun, Keshawn shot back. Jereal's voice came from nowhere. Let my son go, Bradley. Holt spun, gun raised, but Jereal stepped forward, unarmed. You won't shoot. You're not that far gone. Holt lunged, aiming for Keshawn, but Jereal moved like lightning, disarming him with precise strikes. Holt collapsed, his body temporarily paralyzed by Jereal's technique. SWAT stormed in, federal agents confirming Jereal's status. Holt was led away, screaming. Weeks later, Crestwood Hills gathered at a town hall, the room overflowing. Jereal spoke, not of vengeance, but of unity, calling for police reform and community healing. What happened to us isn't unique, he said, but it's a chance to build something better. Morales resigned, replaced by a reformist captain. Holt faced federal charges, his obsession, his undoing. Jereal opened a leadership academy, teaching youth discipline and resilience. Keshawn, now a quiet leader, spoke at graduation. Strength isn't loud, it's standing tall when the world tries to push you down. As summer settled over Crestwood, Keshawn sketched on the porch, neighbors waving, no longer wary. Jereal's contacts watched from afar, a silent promise. The Dorseys had changed their town, proving truth could outshine even the darkest shadows.